thank you so much for being here. We're excited to talk with you guys tonight about the dogs and hopefully get you some good tips.
Yes.
I'm Rebecca Mason, owner of Love Them, Train Them, and this is Anthony Rodriguez. Anthony teaches almost all of our classes out here in Chelsea, right over at Naughty Dog Spa, which is right over there. So it's very close by. We have all different kinds of classes, obedience classes, tricks classes, therapy dog prep courses.
All of the above.
Yeah, all kinds
And
of
we're
things.
resources for evermore
Yes.
once you take our classes.
Yes, yeah, we really like to support our people all the way through. Like, I have students whose dogs live to be 15, have passed. They got new dogs, and now they're still asking me questions, and I'm cool with it, I love it.
Yeah.
And now we get to meet their next generation of pets, which is so special. So we never want people to feel like they're without information. So like after tonight, make sure you get one of our brochures up there, and if you have a question, please email me. I will write you back, absolutely, or he will, or both. If you need information, we want to make sure that you can get that easily. Okay. So we're going to talk about potty training, nipping, chewing, and jumping. Who's having problems with some of that? Yeah. How many things can we say, right? And I like to go around and hear about like your dogs and how old they are. I have 3 dogs. They're all 14. I got them at all different times, but they're just all turn out to be the same age. They're all little fluff butts. Pom, Chihuahua Rat Terrier mix, and a Dachshund Pom. I got his DNA this week, and it was exactly what I thought it would be. Anthony has?
I have an 8-year-old Pit Weimaraner puppy. So,
Yeah.
and I've had her since she was a puppy. She was my college dog, and we took classes when she was 7. So I'm sure you all have young ones, but if you have friends that have older dogs, or if you rescue an older dog, you know, age isn't a factor
It's
when
really
it comes
not.
to communicating with them.
It's really not. People say like, and they'll say, you know, my dog might be too old. And I'm thinking they're gonna say it's like 9, and they go, it's 2. And I'm like, no, no. I mean, we had an 11-year-old dog, Chief, take our tricks class, and now he's working for therapy work. And we had a 9-year-old dog take my beginner class, and when they took it, they said, you know, he's just an old man, and we're just looking to give him some joy. He lived another 9 years.
Wow.
To be 18.
Wow.
So you just never know. You just never know. We're aiming for 20 with mine. That's what I say. So yeah, let's go around and tell me your name and tell me like what kind of dog you have, how old they are, what their name is.
My name is Kelly. We have a 3.5-month miniature schnauzer. Have 2 rescue cats, which aren't the issue. Had a schnauzer before. She did great on the potty training.
Okay.
Nothing like I remember, but now I'm 3 kids in, and one's still in diapers, and
Yeah.
this isn't as easy.
It's much harder, right?
Especially when you think she's got it, and then
There you go.
yeah, turn your back and.
Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you, Bree.
My name is Meredith. We've only had him 3 weeks. He's 6-month-old retriever lab mix. A rescue dog. He's lived in many different places, apparently, from the story that happened. So we have lots of things to do.
All over the thing.
Our 15-year-old passed away about 1.5 years ago, so totally different temperament. So we're starting over.
My name's Kathy. I have a rescue dog about 9 months old. He's, I don't know what mix he is, but he seems to be a American Coonhound, English Coonhound.
Okay.
He looks a lot like them in the pictures. Potty training was simple.
Okay.
I mean, he peed, and when he first got in the house, I put one of the potty pads down. He tried to pee on it, missed it a little bit, and then I put one by the door, and he peed over there, and I said, and then I put it outside, and then after that, that was it. Within 2 days, he was.
Isn't that the best success?
Yes.
Everyone wants that.
I was like, wow, this was easy.
Everyone wants that story.
Yeah. So I was the jumping and the chewing, different.
Whole another ball.
No,
Yes.
another ball.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm Charlie, it's my wife Kim. We have a 3.5-month-old chocolate mini Labradoodle named Harper. And so it's our second pet, and but Harper's a little more energetic than.
She's a doodle.
She's a
That's
doodle.
right.
Lord help it.
Seems extremely smart. She's picked up on a lot of commands, but jumping, biting, leash walking's been a little bit of a challenge for us, so that's why we're here.
Biting,
How old?
3.5 months.
Okay.
She's completely potty trained.
Okay, great.
Which she learns very quickly, but she just, the biting and the
It wasn't
jumping.
as easy as yours was.
No, that was not easy, but.
I was like, I
Never
thought, I was
easy,
like,
yeah.
wow,
Yeah.
this is easy, that and kennel training.
No, it
Yeah.
took a good bit of work.
Yeah, anyway.
Oh, I'm Amy. I'm actually fostering puppies. So I'm kind of just trying to like
Awesome.
get
Who are you
the
fostering through?
2x2.
Great.
So I've got 2 female Rottweiler mixes right now, and I've decided to adopt one of them.
Oh,
Yeah.
So foster fail.
I've been there.
So, but I had a 16-year-old Pomeranian that passed January of last year. So I'm back in,
The
puppy
beginning.
mode. So they're doing really well with potty training actually. But this is more just to get the knowledge so that I can do all of them.
Yes.
Not
And
so
spread it
much
to the
just-
new adopters too.
Right.
On them. Share all this with them.
Yeah.
Encourage them to do that too.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, this is Meredith Dempsey.
Hi.
Meredith is also one of our lead trainers. She teaches at the Alabaster location for us and does private lessons like we all do. And this is Megan Wilson. And Megan is our brand new trainer to be, and she's learning, so that's why she's here listening. So,
And last but not least,
Oh, I'm Kim. This is my shop, so if you guys ever need anything, I know they're gonna talk about a lot of items that we typically have, so, if you have questions, we can help you too, so we'll just be a resource for whatever you need.
thank you all again for coming. So hopefully somebody will get some nugget of wisdom that they needed to help you. But again, after you go home, if you read all this and you're thinking about it, you still have questions, just let us know. We'll talk with you for sure. So we're gonna start talking about potty training. We're gonna go over that in kind of some detail, and then we're gonna talk about jumping, nipping, and chewing that order. Okay. All right, so potty training. And those of you who already have potty trained dogs, remember this for the next one. It's probably a long way down the road, but so when you have a dog who is struggling with potty training, one of the first things to do is to really get them on a feeding schedule, because what goes in must come out, of course. They even have apps now for this. There's one called Puddle and Pile. Have you heard of this? It's like $5. It's not a free app, but you can put in like when they ate and when they drank water and when they go, and it'll start to track it and let you know it's about that time. Supposedly. I have not tried it myself, but Puddle and Pile, you can Google that.
I
So
see her using this for her child.
yeah, right. Yeah. So it's pretty cool. So you can look at that, but I think having a feeding schedule and tracking it yourself, even if you're just writing it on a piece of paper and sticking it on your fridge, which sounds gross, but hey, put it wherever you want it. A little chalkboard in your house. But having some kind of system so that you do start to realize there typically will be some kind of trend. Sometimes that's not the case. And it really also partly depends on their food. What kind of food are they eating? Kim's has excellent foods here that do not have tons of corn and wheat and soy, which means the food is going in and all that fiber is just pushing it right out, which means you're gonna have a dog who poops a lot, large amounts, and it's really soft and smelly, and you might have a lot of gas too. And it doesn't tend to help potty training go well if you're on a food that has a lot of those extra fillers, okay? Rice isn't so bad at all. There's lots of, if you want to diet with grain, rice is a great choice, but all the corn and wheat is just cheap. That's why it's in there, but it tends to create a lot of potty problems. So when you put the food down, just leave it down maybe 15 minutes and then pull it up. Whatever they don't eat in 15 minutes, they will eat later when you present it to them at the next meal time. It seems like tough love, but it will get them on a schedule. And if they have no schedule and the food is just down all the time, they're gonna eat all the time and have to poop all the time. And there's gonna be no regulation or schedule whatsoever, okay? Dogs have to go after they eat, drink, sleep, and one more. Anybody wanna guess what it is?
Play.
Yes, play. That's great. Usually people don't answer that one. Good job, Amy.
30 minutes.
Yeah, that's right. Yes. And sometimes a lot of the time, and we teach a baby puppy class that's for socialization for little baby puppies. And in that class we'll be playing and they'll be having puppy play time. And all of a sudden when the dog walks away from the play, he doesn't want to quit playing, he has to pee. we'll be like, oh, get him out now, get him out now. So if you're playing and everything's great and you're tugging, all of a sudden the dog just walks away, he's got to go. They're not gonna just leave the fun for no reason. So that's a great sign. Like right after class, we're always like, go straight to the grass. They've shook it all up, they're gonna have to go, right? Couple things too, like if you want to start teaching your dog the concept of when you feel like this, go to this door. Not every dog is going to get this, okay? Like one of mine, he does not tell me he has to go. I just have to be mindful about knowing that he's had water, or that he had food, and that I need to be watching and taking him out frequently. He's 14, he's never told me. One of mine will bark at me excessively when he needs to go. To me, that's very helpful, but not every dog is gonna tell you, and not every dog is gonna tell you in the same way. But you can start to teach them the concept of going to a door. You can at least try. Can't promise it'll work, but you can try. The way you can do that is you would need to have some treats on you all the time, okay, in your pocket. It can just be kibble or whatever. So if you accidentally sit on it, it's okay. But if you see them sniffing or circling or looking like they're looking for a good spot, you go up to them and you show them the treat and you go, hey, outside or potty, you run to the door and they're gonna follow you, so you have the food. You treat at the door first. So it tells them when you feel like this, go here and good things will happen for you. So just show the treat, say outside, run to the door, treat at the door, put your leash on, go out, okay? When you take them outside to potty, okay, who has a fence? Okay, do not rely on this fence because if you take your dog outside off leash in your fenced area to potty, it is like Disneyland. Yes. Look at that ride. Oh my God, look at that. They have concessions. Oh my God, squirrels. It's so much, right? It's just so much. Every little leaf, every step is something they haven't sniffed that day, and they're sniffy, sniff, sniff, and you're out here and you're like, okay, it's pouring rain. I'm cold. I'm ready to go in. We've been out here 20 minutes. Surely you don't have to go. What happens? You go inside. Right there. Why?
I never did that either.
Cause it's playtime outside. And
It is, right? There's Disneyland. There's so much going on that they're not thinking about how they have to pee. It's like when I tell my son, well, when he was younger, I would tell my son, are you sure you don't have to go? No, I don't have to go. Because he's so excited about something. And then he's like, oh my God, I have to go. And I'm like, 4 minutes ago you didn't have to go, and now you're dying. He's like, well, I was distracted. I was thinking about it. That's puppies, right? So if you have them off leash, it is like endless sniff time. And then they come in and it's pouring, and they're like, oh, I gotta go. And then they go, and you're like, oh, what? So if you take them out, take them on a leash. I know it's inconvenient, especially if you get a dog door just for this purpose. We can rely on that later once we're potty trained. Take them out on a leash, not a 50-foot retractable leash, but just like a 6-foot, 5-foot leash. Designate a spot in your yard that's gonna be the spot, especially helpful if it's a spot they've already been going to. So let's say Fifi tends to want to pee over here, and I like that she's going here, and I'm okay with this spot. You're gonna walk over to that spot when you feel like it's about that time. She had water 15 minutes ago, she probably has to go, or she was playing and then she stopped playing, we probably have to go. Take her to that spot and just stand still. Okay, you're just gonna stand still with your leash. You're gonna be very boring, not interesting, so that she doesn't want to interact with you. She's gonna probably try and pull you, but you're not gonna follow. You're gonna stand still, and she'll have this little 6-foot area here, right? She's gonna sniff this area, try to get you to go. You're not gonna go. After a while, sniffing everything she can reach, and she sniffed it a couple times, she's gonna go, I'm bored. I gotta pee, and she's gonna pee. And what are you gonna do? Treat, boom, right there, immediately. Do not make the mistake of thinking that you can say, good job, let's go get a cookie. Go all the way up the stairs, all the way in the kitchen, open the thing, give the treat. What's the last thing the dog did before getting the treat? Whatever that thing is why they think they got it. You really only have 2 seconds to reinforce a behavior for them to understand it. So that's like 3 minutes later, it's way too late, they're not gonna get it. So you really need like 3 treats minimum at all times on your person. 1 is to show it to them and run to the door. 2 is for when they go to the pee. And for number 2 is your last treat, your 3rd treat. So 3 treats for a good successful potty. If you can kind of catch the sniffing and go to the door. If they're not sniffing, just go. You only need 2 treats. A lot of dogs do not want to poop where they pee. I don't know why this is, but they don't. That's why a lot of people who try and potty pad train will say, well, he peed right on it, but then he pooped right next to it. Like, well, they don't want to go in the same spot. I don't know why this is. So if this is your pee zone in your yard, and then you get a good successful pee, and you know we ate recently and we probably need to poop, scoot over a few feet and then stop again and have that be your poop area. But they're not going to usually poop where they pee. So if you're standing there waiting for more, you're not gonna get it, okay? Now, let's say you go out there and you're standing there with your 6-foot leash, and you've been standing here for 5 minutes, and your dog is just laying down and wallowing in the leaves. And you're like, man, I know you've gotta go, now you're just playing, oh my gosh, I'm doing everything that lady said to do. Okay, so at this point, you know it's about that time, you know your puppy probably has to go, and then if you go inside and you put him down, he's gonna pee. This is not the time to just let him go and run around your house. This is time to use your crate. Does everyone have a crate?
Yes.
Okay, your crate is your best friend, okay? Crate is your best friend, Amy. Yes, Miss Kim can help you with this. Your crate should be big enough for them to go in, turn around, and lay down. And that's pretty much it. If it's really big, they'll like lay over here, pee over there. And then we develop poor potty habits, right? So, and they make the big ones with the dividers in case your Rottweiler is going to be very large and it's this big right now, right? So you get the divider panel and you move it. But we put them in the crate because we know they have to go. It's about that time, but they didn't go. But if I let them loose in the house, they're gonna pee. So what do? I need to restrict their space for a little bit to give them a little more time to work it up and have to go. So you just calmly put them in there and leave them in there, I don't know, 5-10 minutes. Go back out, do it again. Stand still with the leash. Sniff, 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 sniff. If we get a pee, we treat it. If we don't, go back up again. This means getting up earlier and allowing extra time before you have to go to work. It is. Usually it works pretty quick though if you stand still. It usually works pretty well.
What about like during the day? I mean,
We're gonna get to that too.
Okay.
Remind me if I forget and move on though, okay? So it's 10 minutes to the crate, then back out for 10. Nope, okay, 10 minutes to the crate, back out for 10. This is the only way to ensure you get a success because they're gonna eventually go. Are they gonna go in the tiny crate where they have to lay in it? Hopefully not. Probably not. Are they gonna go out here? Yeah, probably. Then boom, you got it, reward it. After your puppy goes, if you do have a fence, let him off, let him run. That's like a bonus reward, right? Because a lot of puppies will realize that as soon as I pee, I have to go back in. I don't want to go in. They're very smart, right? So some of them will realize that. So after they go, if you don't have a fence, just walk with them a little bit and let them walk around and sniff all that stuff that they want to see, okay? And then go in. Don't be like, okay, pee, okay, now we'll right in. And sometimes you got to. That's fine. But try to delay it a little bit with something fun that they like, okay? What happens if you're in the house and, okay, what happens if you come home and you didn't have your dog put up and there is something destroyed or something's peed on or pooped on in your house? You've been gone for an hour and you come home and you find this thing. Is there anything you can do to tell the dog that right there is not okay? No. Why? 2-second rule.
Yeah, too long.
It's like when you drop
time.
a 5-second rule. 2-second rule. They're not gonna understand. And I have people tell me all the time, well, I held up the thing she chewed and I put it in her face and I see photo evidence from my students of the dog going like this. They're like, she knew. Okay. Kids and adults and people who feel guilty make this face. Dogs who make this face are frightened and being threatened and feeling threatened. And that is their natural response to feeling that way. And they go, oh God, she's really scary. But they don't know why you're upset. And you can't tell them. It's too late. There's nothing you can do. They don't speak English. Showing it to them doesn't do anything. Rubbing their face in it doesn't do anything. They love poop. That's like a party. Yay, right? So it doesn't work. So just don't bother. Clean it up and move on. Cleaning products are important. Kim has some, I'm sure. Stuff like Nature's Miracle and Simple Solution. It needs to be enzymatic. So it needs to say enzymes or enzymatic or natural enzymes on it. Not just any random floor cleaner will work. It has to be for pets and it has to have the good stuff. Because that is what is actually removing the smell that the dog can smell that you can't smell. Because as we know, their noses are exceptional and much better than ours. So your cleaning product does matter. If they just pee on the kitchen floor and you just wipe it up with a thing and it looks dry and fine, it's not fine. They know it's there. Make sure you spray that area thoroughly. If you have a carpet, the spot may look this big, but underneath is this big because of the pad. It goes in and it spreads out. So don't be spritzing that thing. Pour it, okay? And get it really good, better than you think you need to, okay? If you find that your dog keeps going on a particular area, and you have definitely cleaned it, definitely 100% cleaned it, A, why have we not found a way to prevent the dog going to this place? And B, you can do a little trick sometimes where you put their food near that place. They don't want to pee where they eat. So you can feed them in that place, and they usually will not feed it. That doesn't mean they're not gonna find a new spot though. That is important. And really what it comes down to more than anything is absolute supervision. I mean like crazy level supervision, which is the 10 minutes, 10 minutes, 10 minutes, right? Because you're not just gonna let them run loose in your house. And when you have kids, I know I'm a mom, it's very difficult. It's very, very difficult. That way if you have a spouse or a roommate or a friend or a sister or a helper who can help you, that's super. If it's just you and you're on your own, that's harder. But really, it's like, if this dog is loose in your house, it must be where you can see it. Which means if you're in the bedroom, it's in the bedroom. If you're in the kitchen, it's in the kitchen. If you're in the dining room, it's in the dining room, or it's in its crate. The crate buys you some sanity to go do those things you need to do where you can't be watching the puppy. Like if you're cooking dinner, doing the dishes, putting on your makeup, taking a shower, this is crate time, right? You can't be watching the dog and doing those things. And if you have multiple people living in your home, everyone needs to know who is in charge at this moment of being the eyes on the puppy, right? Mom may think it's dad, dad may think it's mom, no one's actually watching, and now we have an accident behind the couch, right? Okay, so knowing that. So this means if you have an open floor plan, you're gonna have to look at maybe some X pens. We just used some boxes and put them, like stacked them in an open doorway one time. It's a big doorway, but the dogs were like, oh, that looks tall, I'm not gonna try and go over that. I love the metal gates that are tall, that have the pole type gates versus the little cheapo Walmart ones, because my puppies would climb those. Although you can do one above the other, pressure mounted like that. So thinking about what can I do to block off this space? Because if you can't see them, then you can't see those signs that they have to go, the circling and the sniffing, right? Okay, what about when you're gone? Okay, so this depends on how long you're gone, right? Usually, this is just a vague formula, but usually they can hold it about an hour per month of age, plus maybe like a half hour. So 3-month-old puppy, 3.5 hours during the day. At night, a lot of the pups will just sleep through it because they're so exhausted from playing all day, but some are not. I got up in the middle of the night at 2 a.m. every night and took my Pom outside, but man, we potty trained her really fast. She learned it fast. Because there was never a missed opportunity. I wasn't gonna miss that opportunity where she was gonna pee all over her crate in the middle of the night. I didn't want that, because then that's a missed learning opportunity. So I would get up at 2, I set my alarm, I'd go get her, take her out. She liked pine straw, I lived in an apartment that had lots of pine straw, so we went to the pine straw. And they will pick textures too. Like, I like this texture, and if this texture you have in your yard and you're cool with them using it, do it. Let them go there. Go with what works, okay? If it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? So, but I would take her out. So if you're gone, if your pup is 2 months old and you're gone 9 hours, this dog has got to have a place to pee, which means either asking a neighbor, relative, dog sitter to come and take them out, or it means that you're not gonna be able to leave them in a crate because they're gonna have to pee. In which case, a lot of people will do like an X pen or a kind of a small kitchen or bathroom where you have the bed or crate that's open with the bed maybe there. And then you would cover like a good half the room probably in potty pads. That way they have somewhere to go. Usually, like, let's say this is your room and here's your door where you left and this is the gate, puppy gate or whatever. Usually they're gonna hang out in the front half because that's where you left. So I'd probably put the bed or crate there and then the pads on the back half. That's probably what I would do personally. But that's what I did with my dog. I was gone like 9 hours and she was like 8 weeks old. And that worked pretty well, but she didn't know to go on the pads, which is why you cover like the majority of the floor. That way, if they go, they're gonna hit it, it's easy to clean and throw it away, boom. And as they do get the idea, you can scale back and use till you're down to just one. If they tear up the pads, this is where you duct tape them to the ground. Not easy, but hey, it's the best I got on that. Because a lot of them will definitely think that they're toys and eat them, and we do not want ingested plastic on paper either. Okay, is there anything potty related that I'm forgetting? Potty question?
I would just say, just remember, just if they have an accident, just understand there's ways we could have managed it, right,
Yes,
or
oh,
done,
thank you,
or
yes.
treated it differently, you know?
Yeah, don't
get
get
on to
upset.
them,
That's what I forgot to
because,
say.
yeah, they're not gonna take it the way we want them to take it.
No, you don't want a dog, thank you. Yeah, and you're going, oh, but it's within 2 seconds, so I can pop him, or I can yell at him. No, don't do that. You don't ever want your dog to fear you, ever. If you damage the bond, you damage the likelihood that they're going to listen to you or look to you in a scary situation versus defend themselves by nipping or biting someone. If they trust you, they're gonna look to you, they're gonna know that you're gonna take care of things, and they never have to do that or act that way. So that's important that we don't damage their relationship. That's number one, always. So if they do have an accident, clean it up and just say, if you want to
Like,
smack
even if
someone,
you're-
smack
I
yourself.
feel like even if you're standing right there and they literally do it right in front of you, I mean,
Yeah.
you don't suggest.
No, I mean, you can kind of go, ah, you know, and try and, hey, and try and interrupt it and get them out.
Scream or
For
something.
sure, sure. You can go, hey, what up? And try and get them out, and then take them out. And if they go a little bit even, train them a little bit. But really, if they're going in front of you right there, that means they don't know what they're supposed to do. And you can't get mad at them if they don't know. I mean, a puppy, imagine that you have an infant with no diaper on, running around your house all day. Would you get mad if the infant pooped on the floor?
Yes.
Yes, you would.
You can tell I don't have kids
But
though.
would it be their fault? No, it would not. Because it's like, there's no diaper. They're going to poop and it's going to be there. So when they're really little especially, they don't know. And the only way you can tell them, this is where I want you to go, is by making it worthwhile, by doing the potty party of the treats and, ooh, good job, yay. Right? It's really the only way that you can tell them.
Yeah, if you witness them doing it too, right, and it happens, it's already happening, try to think of what happened right before that,
Mhm.
right? And
Yeah.
then try to pick up on it next time, so then, all right, now we're being proactive and kind of catching on to the signals we might not have noticed, you know?
Exactly. And really the worst thing that I've seen too is somebody will say, you know, got this dog, she's like 3 years old, she's still not potty trained. I'll be like, what's going on? They're like, I don't know, I don't understand. You know, I caught her the other day and she was pooping in the rug and I did this, if something real negative or whatever, or they popped her, rolled her newspaper up and whacked her with it or something, and I'll be like, oh, I know exactly why she's not potty trained. Because when you do that, we think we're teaching them, I don't want you to pee in these four walls of this home, but they think, if I pee in front of her, I get hit. So when you go outside, are they gonna pee for you? No, this is a dog who will hide it in your home. And you say, well, he did it to spite me. But guess what? He doesn't know those shoes he pooped in were yours, or that you spent money on them, or that you work a job to earn money, or what money is. He does not know. He just went there. People take it so personal. It's not that. It's you've taught him not to poop in front of you, that gets him injured. So that's when they hide it. And once you have a dog who hides their pee and poo, there's not a lot you can do there. There's just not a lot. And it's sad when that happens because they're like, oh, they just didn't know. You know, they didn't know. They're just doing what they were told before. But you don't want to go that route because there's not really a lot of going back from there.
So literally that dog, that's what he'll do the rest of his life?
It's going to be like going outside with the dog, pretending you're not looking, kind of going over here, and then, yay, good job. I mean, it's very
really
hard. I mean, it's very rare that
You gotta build that trust back up.
It's so
Yeah.
hard. Yeah, it takes a lot of time. It can come back, but it's very difficult. Any other potty related questions?
We have the bells on the door,
Mhm.
so
Yes.
when you're doing the kibble thing to the door, I mean.
You could ring the bell. You could.
Okay.
Mhm. A lot of dogs will abuse this and ring
Yes.
it all the time.
Yes,
because
and
they
I'm
want
not
to
taking
find
her
out.
out.
She's like, me.
We come in and she's either will, or if she rings it, I take her out, and it's freezing, or, you know,
Yeah.
and then we come back in, and then
Yeah.
she plays, and then she goes right back,
Yeah.
so.
I mean, some people love the bells, and that's fine if you love the bells. You spell, sure.
I love whatever works.
I know.
So
That's why I don't get upset that my dog
Yeah.
barks at me.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
If he barks, I go water, and if he's out of water, he'll go. It's so cute. I'm like, he's like, she understands.
Yeah.
But if it's not that, he'll just bark normal, and I'll go outside, and he'll go, like, he gets excited, like, that's the one. And I'll just say the words until I get the one where he's like, yes. And I love that communication. That's very helpful to me. Some people go nuts if their dog barks and tell them things like that. But I love that. To me, it's very helpful.
Yeah,
Yeah,
just be
mine
mindful
does
of what
not
happens
just
after he
blind.
hits the bells, right? So if they hit the bell, go run around and play and have the best time of their life,
Uh-huh.
then I'm gonna be hitting that bell all day.
Right.
So just be
Yeah.
mindful. If
Take
that's
him out
the
on
case,
the leash for the potty,
Okay.
not just go
Right,
Right.
controlled.
Yeah, I usually try to jump up and we celebrate
Yes.
that they ring the bell,
Uh-huh.
and then we take her out,
Yeah,
so she could just look at you.
yeah, exactly.
With
So
them
we need to
sweet
be
eyes.
going on the leash,
Yeah.
doing the whole thing, like I said.
Yeah.
I think you'll get there. And the more consistent you are, every time they get a success and they get rewarded, guess what? The more likely are they going to do it the next time. That's why I got up in the middle of the night and took my dog out, because I didn't want to miss that opportunity. So the more consistent you are, the better it'll go. They're really smart, they'll get it.
Yeah, mine sleeps a good while. I mean, he is. I'm the one that gets up more than he does.
Ah, yeah, I know, I set my alarm to get up.
Yep.
Okay, we're gonna talk about
Alright, so
jumping.
jumping, alright, so even before jumping, right, other behaviors that we don't like, right? Let's preface this by knowing that these dogs are different from our old dogs, right? It's a big misconception I'm guilty of, we're all guilty of it. They're different, right? So we have to be patient with knowing that they don't know everything that old dogs knew, right? They're gonna be just as good, but we can't compare them. It's not fair to the new dog, right? So as far as jumping goes, okay? Doodles, big dogs, even little dogs, right? It's cute now, but it's not gonna be cute when they get big, right? Or you have your parents coming and they're visiting and we can't have them jumping on them, right? So as they're jumping, think about why, okay? A lot of times it's attention, okay? Because it's cute and their face is right here and it's all fluffy, it's like, yes. But if they get that attention that they're craving, why would they stop, you know? So as far as reinforcing goes, okay, we wanna not reinforce that jump, okay? There's a lot of ways that we do that subconsciously, right? If a dog jumps on us, even if we're telling it, no, get off, stop, okay? Verbally, we're engaging with them, right? And that's what they want, our engagement, our attention. So doing that's not gonna do you any help, right? Plus, they don't know what those words mean. No, stop, get down. We may say it as sternly as we can, but they're like, oh wow, he's really talking to me really good. So just be mindful of that, right? If that's not gonna help, let's not do that, okay? The other thing would be pushing them down, right? Or kneeing them, or any type of physical engagement with them, right? Now, what do they think we're doing?
Playing.
Playing.
Yeah, now we're gonna go even more, right? So be mindful of that, right? If we're engaging with them, okay, if we're giving them what they're craving is our attention, then of course they're gonna keep doing it. So being mindful of that, ways we can not reinforce the jump, okay, and instead reinforce other behaviors. Sitting, or even just being on the ground is huge, you know? If they learn to do that, if they learn, oh, I get my parents' attention from sitting or standing on the ground or even laying down's a giant one, then of course they're gonna want to do that even more, right? Kids are a big factor too, okay? So kids are closer to the dog, so it may not seem like a big jump, but if your doodle, when they get 6 months old, jumps on a 7-year-old, 10-year-old kid, it's gonna be bigger than him, you know? So this is something we wanna address from the whole family too. If your kids are interacting with the dog and the dog's jumping, okay, be proactive, put the dog on a leash and give the kid space to where we can teach the dog to sit for the kid, right? Because a lot of times what happens is the kid gets riled up because the dog gets riled up and everyone's having the best time ever for now, till he gets bigger, you know? So educating the whole family on this is really important. Ways we set it up for success, right? Put the dog on a leash, okay? If the dog is already jumping on us, okay? A lot of times it's those excited times when we get home, when they come in from the bathroom after a play session or during a play session, times of high arousal, they're more likely to jump. So mentally we know that, so we can prepare ourselves how to address it. If you have a dog jumping on you, all right, good rule of thumb is just to divert that attention that they're craving, okay? Whether it's turning around or just not even addressing the dog at all, okay? The dog's gonna be like, well, what's going on? Why aren't you wanting to play with me? Then they're gonna start going through their head, oh, what else can I do, you know, to get that attention? Whether it's sitting, pawing, all those things they're gonna try to do. If they do a behavior that's, you know, acceptable for us, sitting or even just being on the ground, reinforce that, whether it's food, playing, praising, verbally, all those things is what he's actually craving, okay? So once they start to know that this is what's gonna happen if I do that, then, oh, I can do that all day, you know? But that's where the jumping is gonna start to kind of subside. Now, be mindful, it's similar to behaviors like barking, right? If they've done this for so long and it's worked, okay? Be mindful of what's called an extinction burst, where I've tried this for so long and it's worked and now it's not working, so I'm gonna go double time and try it and see. Okay, it happens a lot with barkers, where I barked for attention and then now barking it's not working, so now I'm gonna bark a lot, okay? Doesn't last as long, but it does happen, so just so you're prepared to know that this is what's happening. It's not that the training or the reinforcement's not working, It's that it's right close to that point where they're gonna stop doing that because these other behaviors are actually paying off. Okay, so really be mindful of that, of reinforcing the other stuff and not the jumping, okay? Let's see, so in the home, if you know you're gonna have people coming over, okay, let's be mindful of that. Let's set it up for success. So if we know, all right, so-and-so's coming over, okay, around this time, let's go ahead and put the dog on a leash, okay? Not let the dog have complete access to the entry point, right? Because that's where the most excited times happen, when someone comes right through the threshold. So we know that. Have someone else go answer the door, and then you're with the dog on a leash, okay? You can have food, you can have a toy, and then address it with the person as well, okay? Make sure they know if he gets so excited to meet you and he's jumping on you, just don't give him attention. If he jumps, just turn around, take a couple steps away, create space. But we need to make it known that we're trying not to reinforce this jump, okay? Because, you know, it's commonplace to pet a dog that's right here close to you, you know, because it's super cute, but you're trying to work on something, right? You're trying to extinguish a behavior and reinforce other ones. So educate as many people that interact with your dog as possible. And if, say, you're the only one at home, okay, and you can't hold him and answer the door, time to or leash them and tether it to a big piece of furniture where they can't, you know, physically interact with the door, and then you manage it the same way once everyone's in and kind of calm down, you know. I want to mention another thing about kids and the dogs. If the kid and the dog are feeding off each other's energy, right, and it's not going to simmer down anytime soon, give one or the other a break from each other, okay? And generally when, let's say you get home and the kid gets home from school and you let the dog out of the crate and he's sprinting around the house doing zoomies and the kid's trying to keep up with him, right? That's a super excited time, okay? So the dog guaranteed is gonna do something nutso, right? So just be mindful of that and say, all right, you go and tell your kid to go do something, let the dog get the energy out, the excitement burst at the beginning out, and then let's see how he kind of works through things, okay? But we gotta be proactive. That's the main key with all that, okay? So last thing would be out in public with your dog and other people. Similar to the home, address it up front, okay? We give our students rules as far as trying to have the dog sit before the person interacts with them, okay? Not to stay in the sit, but just a simple sit command lets the dog know, if you do this, that person's gonna come pet on you and love on you, you know? Another good tactic is when somebody is petting on your dog, you just feed them, let them lick a treat, occupy the mouth, you know? It helps with their focus on this rather than what's petting on them, and it helps with kids too, because kids, what do? That face is right there. So if you occupy the mouth, hopefully the kid will, you know, naturally go to the other half of the dog where they'd rather be petted anyway. So be mindful of that. It's an easy tactic that tries to set up everyone, the greeter and the dog, for success, you know? Dog's on the ground, getting fed while being petted, and the kid's hands and everything's back over here.
Yeah.
Last thing, greetings with other people don't last forever, okay? So keep them short and brief, because if you pet on a dog for 20 seconds, you know, excitement's gonna build, and then now they're bursting again, okay? So just be mindful of brief greetings from everyone, and then after everyone's calm and kind of taking a break, now we can interact more, okay? You wanna add anything?
Yeah. Just in class, we actually practice that. We make them, we pretend we're like trainers. We go, hey, can I pet your dog? And they go, yes, but she has to sit first. If she jumps, please turn your back. And then we make them tell every person that, every single one. It makes them get in the habit of it. So if you start doing that, yes, but she's gotta sit first. If she jumps, please turn your back. And if they go, well, I don't mind, you say, well, I do. This is what we're working on. But mindful too, like if the person is this close to your dog, they're not gonna sit. That's a joke. You're gonna have to be like, just a second, let me get her focus over here. But if your dog can't sit in a quiet room, they definitely can't sit in an interaction. So practice your sits, just easy, it's such an easy thing to sit. Half your dogs already know it now. Just practice that in a quiet room and treating every time just to where they have really good reliability with it, so that it's so easy for them, so that when there is that person who wants to pet, they can succeed at it. Like you said, don't expect them to stay there. They'll probably stand up once they're being petted, but if you keep the food on the face and they're just licking the food, half the time in class when we do this, the dog doesn't even look at me when I'm petting them. They're just like, pet, 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 pet. And people are like, oh my God, I never thought that would work. If they just lick the food the whole time, the person just pet and pet and pet, they never try to jump. ran out of food, they will. So you gotta, that's one of the short interactions, like you said. It works so much better than you think it will. It really does.
And practice with your own kids too, so that way they can learn how to interact with other dogs they don't know. You know, that's big time. Yeah.
So like, for instance, when I come home from work, should I have treats on me? I mean, cause I come in with a computer bag,
so
lunch
much
bag,
stuff.
purse. I mean, when I come
Where's
in,
the-
I can
where's the
barely
dog when
get
you
in the
come in?
door.
Is the
Pardon?
dog meeting you at the door?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
I can hear him.
Oh,
Sometimes
yeah.
before I even get the key in the
Yeah,
door,
for
he's
sure.
at the front
Okay.
door
He's right in the
yelping.
car.
So
Yeah.
there's a couple things you can do. Like a lot of our students will say, like, I come in the door and the dog is just grabbing my clothes and just do it. If you have one of these dogs, then you have a tug toy in your pocket when you come in the door, and you go, hey, and you stick it in their mouth, because like dogs, a lot of
No, he
dogs when they're
jumps.
amped,
He
they gotta
comes
put their
up.
mouth on
His
something.
hands come right
Okay.
up to me and
So
tries to
for
lick.
you, you can have them somewhere easily accessible when you come
Okay,
in. They
when I
don't have
come
to
in
be
the door.
on you. That's
Okay.
not a bad idea. Keep some kibble in your car or whatever, put it in your
Right,
pocket.
right.
Maybe go in yourself without your stuff first,
Exactly what I was
and get the dog,
Oh, okay, get the dog.
then go back and get your things.
Right.
Okay.
Yes, right? That's probably what I would do, because you can't do anything when you got all that stuff, and then you're knocking it out of your arms. It's a big old mess. I'd probably go in, let the dog get used to the fact that you're back.
Yeah.
Then when he's like, okay, she's here, it's cool, then go get your stuff. And it'll probably the second entry will be much better.
Right.
But yeah, so when you come in, they're gonna be like, "Bleep," and you're gonna be like, no, and you're just gonna walk over here, you're gonna put your stuff down, or if you have stuff,
Mhm.
it's all fine, just kind of ignoring all this zaniness here. Turn your back, and when the dog pauses from jumping for a second, you can either ask for the sit, then go down and pet, or just take that pause and go, yes, good job.
Cause
Go
I've been
down
trying,
like
I'm
that.
like, down, sit, down,
Uh-huh,
you know,
yeah,
and then
yeah.
I drop everything and I'm
Yeah.
going down.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm trying to go
I
down
know.
and he's up here and I'm
I
like,
know.
come on down.
I know. It is really hard, because they're so darn excited. But
Uh-huh.
like the key that we have seen really over the last year, especially and with y'all at the shelter, I know y'all are doing this a lot, is that they start to offer the sit.
Mhm.
If you practice it enough and they learn that gets something, they'll just slide up into it and come up to you like, even if they're like really excited,
Mhm.
they'll go, they're like twitching.
Like I've had to retrain him like 2 or 3 times on the sit.
Yeah,
Yeah, he tends, but I mean, for other things, he does it,
yeah,
you know, so I like come over here like, cause he likes to,
yeah.
he likes to get.
And it
in
may
your
be
face
that
when you're
if
eating.
you know that you're gonna have to say it 18 times to get it, don't ask for it then.
Right.
Walk in, put your stuff up, wash your hands, put your coat up, and just be there without
Right.
interacting. That's what I do. I come in there like, "Blah!" and I just put my things up, and then they're kind of like, by the time I've been walking around and doing things for minutes, they're kind of just like, "What's up?" And then I'm like, hey, will you sit? Okay, good. It just, they need to like get used to you being in this space again, and then sometimes they'll bring it down and to a level where you feel like, okay, I think now if I asked him to, he could,
Right,
you know?
okay.
And then going down low enough to where you're meeting them and not halfway, and then they're meeting you halfway.
Cause he's with my stepdad all day, but I know he doesn't pay him attention, and
There
that's
you go.
that's a big issue.
Yeah, yeah. So being prepared and just knowing that some dogs are gonna need a second before they can possibly even hear you say sit.
Okay.
You know, don't just keep saying it if it's not working. That's just teaching them that you'll say it 18 times. Then you lose your reliability.
Right.
Any other jumping related questions?
Yeah, just be consistent within the household too, right?
Yes,
So
everybody.
Well, that's the
doesn't jump
hardest
on dad,
part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I told him when I first, I threatened I would gonna go ahead and put him in daycare,
Mm.
doggy daycare, and he started crying, cause
Oh.
it's, my mom passed away in August, and, so that I was taking care, you know, I was living with him, and so he, you know, he's like, no, cause he looks forward to it, but he don't listen to me, or like, you know, he when he was a puppy, he was roughhousing with him, he's,
Yeah.
oh, I'd wrestle with him, and now he's like,
Yeah.
you have to ask him about jumping in.
Rough
Jumping,
is
yeah,
the
and I'm like,
cause,
and I
yeah.
told him when he did it, I said, you can't do it, cause that's what
Yeah.
you're teaching him.
Yeah, exactly.
And then he
And
can't
it's
stop,
so
he
hard.
always goes for his hands and feet, cause
Yeah.
he's used to, I said, he doesn't do it to me.
Get him a plushie toy that is bigger than his hand,
Mhm.
and let him go like with the toy
Toys,
and not his
okay,
hands. And
okay,
with kids, this is a good one too, because kids just love to do that. And it's the guys, you know, y'all know. The guys love to wrestle the dogs. They
Yeah.
do. It's almost always the guys. So get the toys and play with that way the dog is playing with the toy and not nipping on you.
not,
and the
okay.
hands, you know. So yeah.
She's just
And-
like, ask about this. I said, I already told you this is what you
Yeah.
need to do, but you're not listening to me, so I don't know what I'm supposed to do.
So yeah.
So
yeah.
now I got it in
There
writing.
you go, there you go. Okay, so nipping, let's talk about that.
Yes.
Nipping is partly just the arousal level of the dog. They're so excited, they got all this feeling and they don't know where to put it. They need to put it somewhere, so my mouth's gotta go on something. And some dogs are just more like that than others, and sometimes it's age related because their jaw hurts and they're teething. It could be so many different reasons. I find that a lot of the nipping happens during roughhousing, which just goes right into my point about the big plushies that are bigger than your hands. That is very helpful, but really what it comes down to is you don't ever want to use your hands as toys or weapons. No hitting, or they're definitely going to want to attack people who reach out to pet, right? Because hands are bad and hurt me. And we're not going to be doing this, even though it's so fun. If you have an older dog or a dog who's not nippy and they like to play like this, fine. But if you have this problem, this is not something we continue doing, right? But if you think about when you're petting a dog, if you're doing this, you're nipping them, like little mouths nipping all over. And you've seen dogs play the bitey face game where they're like, I bite your face, you bite my face. They love to do that, right? So if you're petting them like this, you're nibbling all over them with the mouth, and they're gonna turn and nibble you back, and it's just natural. That's what they do, it's how they play. But if you pet with calm, flat hands, which does not feel natural to us at all, it's not like nipping them, right? But think about like petting is, dogs must think we're so weird. They don't pet each other. That's not something that's in like their vocabulary of things we do. But that's like, we're so tactile, we just wanna put our hands on everything. They don't do that, so I don't think they know what to do with that sometimes. And it does raise their arousal level, and they just, it's so much. Like some dogs in class, you can barely pet them or you're gonna lose them and you're not gonna get them back. Mentally, they're just gone, you know? But calm, flat hands down their side, down their back. Sometimes the belly rubs, they like that. And they love the rump scratches, but again, that's nibbling too. The good thing about petting the back end is that if they're gonna mouth you, their head has to turn and you have time to remove your hands, right? I like to tell kids to pet kind of down the back and the side, because if the mouth comes around, they have time to move their hand. Under the chest is usually good, because like if I'm petting the dog under their chest, they can't get my fingers, because my fingers are up under their chest. So this is all that they can get. They can't get my fingers. So that's another good spot. As far as petting spots where you're not gonna get mouthed as much. But a lot of nipping just comes from misuse of our hands, playing with our hands. Petting them on or around their face, especially, it's bitey face. How are you? And they're gonna go, oh, okay, I love that game. Let's play that game, right? So it's the way you pet versus this. It's where you pet. The face, you're much more likely to have them nibble on you because the teeth are there, right? And then like, time of day. Is the dog tired? If so, you're probably gonna be able to pet him and not get nipped as much. But if he's riled up, just don't even try. There's just times where you're like, just don't even. And some dogs in class, they get worked up or stressed, and someone just calmly petting them will really calm them down, or massaging them in kind of circles on their shoulders, slowly pressing in. Sometimes that really helps. Other dogs, that will just amp them so much more. So it really is about how you're using your hands. And again, this is so hard when you have kids, and hard when you have multiple people in the family, but you have to remind each other, you know, hey, watch where you're using your hands. And as soon as they start, just remove your hands, move them away. You know, and it's like if they're going after your pants legs, you don't want to do that. What's going to happen? Let's play. It's so fun. You got to get really still and boring, and then redirect them to do something else and praise them when they do, right?
And another instance of nipping, right, is when you treat a dog. Is a lot of people get nipped, and you all know how sharp their teeth are as puppies. If you treat them like this, right, they're going to meet you halfway, and they're not even on purpose, right? Just their teeth are gonna get your fingers. But best way to treat, put it in the palm of your hand, and the way I think of it is underhanding or bowling it, put it on their lips, right? Let them learn to receive the treat instead of going to get it. You know, that's gonna go a long way, and your fingers will thank you for sure. But we've all been there. So if you catch yourself, wow, it happens, right? But now, all right, maybe let's try a different way, you know? Teach your kids too, that's for sure a big one. People get cut all the time, you know. It happens. Anything else?
Meredith, do you want anything about nipping?
Sometimes I have clients that say it hurts too much to just stand there and take it and ignore the behavior. So if it's to that level where your dog is so big they're knocking you over or they're drawing blood, on you because they're tiny puppy teeth or claws. When you recognize that happen, you need to try your best to remove the dog from the situation so they calm down, whether it's in a crate, an X-Pen, or you need to remove yourself.
Yes.
It's easier if you can remove yourself because removing the dog requires you to touch it, which gets you bit, or if it's so big you can't do that. So it's best if you remove yourself from the situation. Just go in a spare bedroom, bathroom, close the door for 1 minute, then come back out and try again. If he's still crazy, remove yourself and try again. If it's really bad when you come home from work, I recommend putting them in a back room so they're not right there to get to at the door. Again, that's only if they're so bad to where they're physically hurting you and you can't stand just waiting them out for their correct behavior. So
And a lot of people, you know, I had a trainer friend who always recommended if the dog nips your hand to go, ah! And then let your hand hit the, like it's dead. I've had a lot of success with this, but some puppies, it makes them more excited, not just go, you know, it just, or it's scary, and you don't, and if the dog goes like, oh God, then that's not good, but if it makes them go, oh, well then maybe that works for you. But you don't ever want to risk scaring the dog either. Again, it's about the relationship and it'll affect things later. But we also don't want to be mauled. So the reverse timeout that she's saying of the removal of yourself really is the easiest thing. And yes, in that moment, your puppy is unsupervised and no one is watching to see if it's in. But you're not going to be going long. She's like, oh yeah. But you're not going to be going long.
it's very quick,
Okay, chewing.
Alright, so last thing, chewing. The best advice I can give you is management and prevention, right? Puppy proofing, you know, that's a real thing. And it requires you to think outside of our normal realm of thinking, right? Get on the ground and look around and see what your puppy's seeing, you know? Whether there's a cable underneath the couch we didn't know about, you know, outlets that are close. I don't even want to go, and there's a lot of things, okay? So just anything you think potentially could be a hazard, let's figure out how to manage that situation, you know? Covers over the outlets, cables can be tied up to where we won't even see them. Just think of everything they could get into and let's figure out how we can avoid that, you know? Because they can't chew the cable if they can't get it, right? Another instance would be if chewing's a natural behavior that they do, right? So whether it is cables or wood furniture or clothing, right? There's a lot of stuff that simulates that type of chewing. We don't want to stop them from doing something that's natural, you know, smelling and digging are other behaviors too, that we want them to, you have a digger? You have a digger?
Yeah.
Quickly about digging, I am a total advocate for a sandbox, right?
Yeah, big time.
Or even a 3-wood frame that you can just lay it on the ground, loosen up the dirt, throw a bunch of, you can fill it up, put sand in it, wet it, bury toys, bury stuff. Once they go into it, reward them, and then watch them love to go into that spot. Right? Give them a place to go, but don't put it too close to the fence where they're gonna dig and then find their way under.
That's what she did.
Yeah.
She had under the fence.
Yeah.
She needs her own spot.
Yeah, so that's one of those things, we don't wanna suppress the behavior, we rather corral it and put it towards a thing that we can do, That's where the chewing, right? Whether it's clothing, there's, you know, tug toys that are like fabric-like, there's tug toys that are like cable, similar to cable, or like rope toys. The bully sticks are similar to the wood, right, the Himalayan shoes.
Gorilla
Talk about the
shoes,
toys, I'm not super familiar with them.
Like, I love, one of my favorite things ever in the whole world is these right here, these Orby Tough Buns. And they come in different sizes if you have like little guys. But like, they feel kind of like skin. And I feel like, squish it. I'm gonna make everyone squish it. Right? So it feels, if you like to chew skin, if your dog likes to chew your hands, like, it feels like that. If you wanna squish it, everyone's got it. If you wanna squish it too, okay. Everybody's gotta do it. And it gives a good bit. The puppy ones give even more, but if you have a large breed puppy, I'd go with the adult one, hands down. Did you get to squish it? Okay, I can't remember if you got to squish it. So I love these because I think they're just that perfect texture where if your dog just needs its mouth on you all the time. I love those. I like the Gorilla Chews. I know Kim can get those if you have a wood chewer who chews your deck First of all, why are they out there that long unattended where they're eating your deck or your table? I lost this beautiful table I love the first month I had my dog. And they told me he was like 3. No, he was like 1 and still chewing. I destroyed that table. Lack of supervision, right here, my fault. But the gorilla chews, they're like a Java wood chunk. And whereas most wood, if they chew it, would splinter and they could swallow it, this one just like flakes off in these tiny little shaving bits. So it's like a weird like soft wood. They're called gorilla chews, but they love those things and they last forever.
Are they like edible? You said it flakes off, so
It just
is it
kind of,
edible
they usually
though?
don't really eat it, but
They
if
don't?
they do, it's just, it's soft, it's weird, you just have to see it to see it, but the Himalayan bones, the yak's milk, I know you've got that kind of stuff too.
Yeah, they're right over there.
Those
My
are
dog loves
hard.
those.
So if your
Himalayan
dog
bones.
needs something like hard to chew on, where they're chewing on the hardest stuff they can find and the crown molding, you know, this kind of stuff, it's great. They're hard, but what's cool about it is they just kind of end up breaking off chunks and it's digestible. It's just like a hardened cheese. And so they can digest it perfectly. And then when it gets really small to where you're worried they would swallow it, you microwave it for like a minute and it puffs up like a little biscuit. It's great. So you don't have to waste it. I love that. There's all this kind of stuff too. There's so many things. I love the bully sticks really too. I think those are great for puppies. Just again, like if you leave them with any kind of chews, don't leave them unattended with them. Make sure you're present and if someone's home with them because you don't want them getting them stuck up between their teeth on the roof of their mouth or something like that.
Yeah, and if there's something that you say, like let's say your dog loves those toys and then they stop loving those toys, right? It could just be the novelty factor, you know.
Right.
So if you find something else they like, you know, replace it, or don't let them burn out on those things, right? Give them to them every now and then.
That's what I do.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And don't-
I alternate them with the goat
There you go.
ones. That's
Yeah.
because those are 2 things. Cause he loves the bones, and it takes him. The other small bones he would get through in a minute.
Mhm.
These at least last me a week or
for
2,
sure.
you know, for a while.
Mhm.
So that's what he gets. Is
Right.
I alternate between them.
Yeah, and not leaving them out, right?
Right.
That's a big thing, because if they see that thing every day, it's just that thing that's there, you know? And if they really like something and it's put up, let's say you come home and they're super stoked, right? Or they're bursting with excitement. Here's your favorite toy, knock yourself out, you know? But it's a way to, you know, encourage that behavior, which is chewing, which is something natural that they do, but putting it to something that's not destroying your furniture.
I see. I usually leave him out, but he has a bunch of different ones.
Right?
And and he never finishes them, but he plays with them. Like
Yeah,
he'll
but one day
he'll
he's gonna
go
find
take.
it.
Well, no, he
Like, where's
takes.
that been?
He gets it. He goes and he plays with them. He lays them out. Like he lays like 3 of them, and then I'm like, well, which one are you gonna choose? You know. And then they'll go over and he'll start hitting them, and then he'll start chewing it, and then he'll stop and he'll go get another one, and you know he just.
But it's not a bad idea to rotate them, you know, have
Yeah.
these are my Monday, Tuesday toys, these are my Wednesday, Thursday toys, and these are my Friday, Saturday, Tuesday toys.
Right.
And then by the time Monday comes, oh my God, I haven't seen that in 5 days, I love that, versus,
Yeah, because sometimes he won't touch them at all, but they all go in the same spot. Like I was trying to teach him, I'm like bone bed, bone. You know, like this one. That didn't work. But.
Yeah, I'll say this too, some dogs will chew out of boredom, you know, as well. So intelligence toys are great. Giving them something to do,
Oh
whether
my
it's a
gosh,
feeder
yes.
toys are great. Yeah, Kongs and I'm sure she's got the ground. Yeah. Yeah, all those things are great.
All my favorites.
You'd be surprised at how
you know,
beat they are after they go at it with one of these things, and they can eat their meal through this.
yes, don't just put it in the bowl, what a waste.
If
Give
you
them
have
this
like
thing.
if you have a herding breed, feed them with those suckers. I
Yes.
promise.
Oh, yeah, yes. Mhm.
Yeah, I feed mine with a Kong wobbler, and when I get home, I fill that thing up, let it go, and then I go do my stuff, take a shower, whatever, and I get out and they're still doing it, or she's still doing it, right?
Super idea.
But again, just I'm very mindful of not leaving it out forever, because even if there's nothing in there, it still smells like stuff, and they'll get frustrated if there's nothing in there and
why
they're
can't I
trying to
eat
get
it?
something. Yeah,
Exactly.
But Kongs with peanut butter, freeze
Oh
them.
yeah.
Yeah.
That'll wear them out too as well. But that beats the boredom, you know,
For
as far as
sure.
giving them something to do that's not destructive.
I love this, like, my dog, he gets bored really easily, which is why he barks at me to tell me he wants to go out frequently. But, I got all kinds of puzzle toys, and I know Kim can get these too, the Outward Hound toys. There's so many cool there's one called the dog brick that I love, and it's like they have to flip open the compartments with their nose and then slide them down, and there's compartments under those. So they use their nose or their feet. Mine will grab the thing and rip it off and fling it over there. He's so impatient. I'm like, all you do is flip it. But they have to interact with them, and there's different kinds. There's so many. They're really cool, and it buys you some time, like he's doing. But I give his food in that. I don't just put it in a bowl. Or I train with his food, and we work on our training at mealtime. That way you've got 2 guaranteed training sessions every day.
Yeah, that or slow feeders like bowl inserts and stuff like that. If you have a dog that eats its meal in 10 seconds,
That's not healthy.
yeah, I would change up something, whether it's a track within the bowl or a feeder or something like that where they can interact with it and take them 20 minutes to eat something that they were inhaling previously.
Kim showed me today. I didn't know you're supposed to pull it out to load it.
Oh,
Jeez. I just poured it in. So you pull it out to load it, and you pop it like that, and they have to roll it, and only some of it is going to come through the lid. So they have to, you know. And this is a good one too if you have like hardwood floors, because some of the kinds that are just like a ball, it's going to roll under the couch every dang time. But you know, this one is not going to roll as much because of the material and the shape. So anyway, does anybody have any other questions related to any of that we've not said?
We'll get our contact so you can reach
Yeah,
out when
make
you
sure you sign up for the thing. We're gonna do the
Come around.
drawing, and over here we've got brochures with our website on it and the list of the different classes. It's on the table as well.
And I have 2 tips, and you guys can correct me if any of these are wrong.
Sure.
So, I know Anthony was saying, kind of get down on the ground and look like you're a puppy.
Yeah.
Look at things like you would never, ever think about. I think you said you have cats as well. I now have a metal pooper scooper because the plastic one got ingested, let's just say. So, things like that. And now there's a baby gate. So, think about things you would never, ever
Yes.
even contemplate, because that was not something I ever expected. So when you're puppy proofing, you know, think what could he possibly get into, and then take it from
Well,
there.
and along that same line, litter boxes.
Yes.
Yeah, well, we have theirs in a bathroom and gated off because right now her main objective is cat food.
Yes.
And they normally get dry, but the other day I opened up a can and you thought it was for her. And she was just smelling in the air, and then she went around looking for it. And anytime she can get, so we know about her going to eat the cat poop, and that they love to do that apparently. So we keep her away from that. And we have baby fences up everywhere for the animals, not our baby.
Yeah.
So they just, now we have to figure out how to get our kids over the fence because we have in every entry, so we have stools.
Well,
They have gates, so
are
my dogs are
the
14, so I see.
are the litter boxes and the food in a room with a door?
Yes.
Okay, so I have the Door Buddy, Amazon, for like $10. It's just a little strap that you
Stick
put,
to the frame.
stick to the frame and stick to the door, and you take the strap and it just sticks into the door, and you can change the sizing of it to determine how wide or how narrow the opening is. Lets the cats in, keeps the dog out.
What? Unless your dog is my size.
Yes,
The size of the
it
cat.
has to be a decent sized dog.
Yeah,
My
so I mean,
dog's
she's
60
little,
pounds.
well, as I've noticed with our boy cat, he's the biggest, fluffiest I say, but she's almost as big as him now. When we got her, I mean, she was just a little
Yeah,
handful.
but she's gonna grow to about what?
Miniature Schnauzer, right?
Yeah, I mean, she's,
Oh, I mean like 25 pounds.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You can
I
also
mean-
elevate the stuff. whether
Yes,
it's
and we do
feeding-
have it
feeding
elevated,
and the
yes.
litter
Yeah.
boxes.
because I mean, we just, right now, we just keep all that away, and then the cats, that way they have a safe place too
Yes.
from her, because she terrorizes them. And one takes it very well, the boy does, he just slaps at her, and they
Yeah.
just love that, that's their play. But the girl, she just like has fear in her face,
Oh.
running for her life.
Well,
So-
cats can fit into some pretty small
Yes.
openings.
Yes.
So I bet you could test that out on the cats and
Yeah.
get it small enough to where that schnauzer won't be able to fit in it.
Yeah,
full grown.
yeah, because they like to sneak into closets.
Yeah.
And then you go by and you shut the closet door,
Yep.
and then you can't find your cat
Yeah.
anywhere, and then you find her in there
Because I
sleeping.
have the cat and dog problem, so I'm like,
Yeah, and then the kid problem, and I don't even
I
know
don't
why
have
I
the
thought me getting a puppy right now was the best thing to do.
You're not the only one though.
I know,
I'm
I
the
keep,
only one.
I just keep thinking about down the road, you know, that light at the end of the tunnel.
But you're already doing yourself a service by, getting the information.
Right.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
So the other tip I had was when they're teething, any kind of plush toys, soak them in water, stuff them in the freezer, and then give them to them, because it's the same concept as teething babies. So it'll kind of soothe the gums.
That is a great tip.
Does it matter what type of plush toy?
You want it to have a little bit of gives, like the fluff and tufts are actually not good for this.
I was thinking.
Yeah, so like if they've
Softer.
gutted, one of the loofah dogs,
Uh-huh.
they've gutted her, there's a stuffing-less one. Soak that puppy in water, put it in the freezer and give that to them, cause there's a little bit of give to it, and they can just kinda gum it and that will
That's a
cool
great
their gums.
That was a stupid question.
How old are they when they're teething?
I had a friend's dog sitting while I was out of town, and she had 2 cats, and she's like, I don't think he realizes they're cats. I said, how does a dog not know a cat?
Maybe just not have any frame of reference. I don't know.
I just would have thought for sure.
My dog, I could guarantee that my dog thinks little dogs are squirrels /
Yeah.
vermin creature things and I wanna eat it, So, it's justified.
So I've been trying to teach him what a cat looks like. He knows birds. He watches those.
Well, thank you all very much.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
I've learned all the things I'm doing wrong.
Oh, no. I did have some good tips.
These are the things to do right.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I do have a question though. Once, like you say, they're potty trained, and you're hoping you're there,
You're hoping.
and you have them confined in that small area. Do you open up, say, more sections of your house to
Yes,
them?
gradually, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Because we have the upstairs, which is carpet, and that's
Yeah.
just not
No,
gonna
I
happen,
gave
probably
that.
years,
Yeah.
until I know
No,
for sure.
No, yeah. Just gradually add space as we are succeeding.
Okay.
And if we're not, we're not doing that.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
it's, then you're gonna have some accidents too, and
Yeah.
it's gonna happen. Just do the best. And don't beat yourself up about it.
Do you have your sessions, like your training sessions? How do they work? Like, do you have them certain nights a
Yeah,
week or?
we have a schedule online, and they're usually 6-week courses that are 1 hour a week. So like you can 6 Mondays or 6 Wednesdays or 6 whatever we have coming up, and
Okay,
it's $275 for 6 weeks.
okay.
It's usually
I never know for it, not wrong.
we have alabaster classes, we have Vestavia classes, and we have Homewood classes also. So if you don't live here and drove here from somewhere, that is a big closer to you.
I live
Yeah, I
here.
figured y'all probably live right here.
I'm an alabaster.
Yeah, we can
can see
start
for the
at
free
12 weeks for
Um,
obedience,
Okay,
so 3 months, right?
yeah, she's, yeah.
Yeah, so they're all gonna start, I feel like 14 weeks, like 6 weeks is kind of a great time.
Okay.
12 weeks, like, it's fine, they're just gonna not be able to go the whole hour,
Right.
and towards the end, they're gonna poop out and you're gonna be kind of
So
watching.
that's a group class or?
Yeah, it's a group.
Okay.
Yeah, we can private lessons in the home too, but puppies,
Yeah.
I think they need,
Yeah,
they need
yeah.
that socialization.
She needs to learn how to be, she just, when she sees a dog, she gets so excited, she's jumping and running
The
after her.
first day is crazy.
Okay, so it's normal?
Yeah, no, the first day is rough. I know
Okay.
my roughest first week's every day. All the dogs were so excited. You know, it's you take a variety of treats with you the first
Right,
time,
okay.
and that this may not be the thing we want, that we love at home. It's not gonna be Jack here,
Oh.
because this is a big, exciting situation, right?
Right,
So you might need to bring out the big guns and have something that's really, really smelly, that's maybe new, that they don't get all the time.
okay.
People say, she loves this treat at home, but they won't even touch it at class, because there's just so much, right?
Right.
It's so much novelty. So having a variety, bringing several kinds with you, and usually there'll be something that they really like, that they wanna go here, they wanna go see the dog, but you've got that. And like the first week is rough, but we do like 4 different exercises on focusing the first week, and it's very rare we have a dog not participate. If they don't, it's usually because they're fearful. But once we start working, they kind of forget the others are there. Especially by week 3, they're like, I got this, let's work, let's do this.
Mine
And we
is
keep them in their own area. They don't go great in class, and they know that. Like
Okay.
after the first week, they're like, okay, I'm not gonna get to go over there.
Yeah.
Because we want to work with you, and to be able to do that despite the fact that that dog is over there.
Right.
I said, my dog's definitely fearful in a way.
Yeah, sometimes
On
they
some
are,
days,
and
yes.
sometimes groups are not for each dog. Like we have a lot of dogs who will try, and it's just a no-go. We never want to keep a dog in a situation where they're gonna be even more fearful the next time they see that experience. So. And if you're not sure, like we do
She'll be
evaluations.
just fine.
But 12 weeks would be the minimum.
Okay,
But for the, we have a,
Puppy class.
I know all of your dogs are, I think, older than 12 weeks, but we have a puppy socialization class we do off Acton Road behind the colonnade kind of, and it's for ages 8 weeks to 12 weeks.
Okay.
And it's getting them used to sounds, a movement, texture, tactile kind of things that they need to see during those crucial.
Would you suggest something like that if they're still, like, mine are,
Mhm.
I mean, I've had them for a week and a half and I still feel like they're skittish even just to come to me.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, man. If they're skittish just
They're-
to come
they're
to
getting
you?
better. They're just,
Okay.
I don't know where
How old are they?
they're just 8 weeks now.
Yeah. If they're still skittish to come to you, that would be scary. I think that environment would be very scary.
Okay.
So that would be more like having one of
Maybe
us
something,
come to
yeah.
you and show you things that you can do to help them build bravery. Because really, socialization is about rewarding bravery and encouraging bravery, but never pushing. You don't just want to shove them in.
Yeah.
You know, if they're already nervous about you, then if you put them in that strange room with like 6 other dogs and 12 people, oh my God,
Yeah.
now
Okay.
that stuff is even scarier. So that would be more like an in-home kind of.
They're, I mean, they're coming to me more. It's just like,
Good. Yeah.
if, you know, the girl, if I'm holding, like today I went somewhere with them and I was holding one and I lifted the garage door and she like, you know,
Oh,
so
yeah.
I don't know.
Okay. So was the mom feral?
Not that I'm
No?
aware of.
Okay.
Mm-mm.
Because that can affect things sometimes. So one thing you can do is have them not in the room of the scary sound, but go around your house and record all the sounds in your house that you think might be scary. Garage door, blender, vacuum, hairdryer, record them on your phone, okay? And what you would do is you would play it at the lowest possible volume and feed treats or play with them while they hear the sound so quiet that they are not concerned. That requires understanding body language, of course, so that you know that they're not concerned versus I'm not sure if they're concerned, which is why like a trainer would be helpful. But you just start really low, adding good things, and each day go up a hair, a hair, a hair, a hair. And eventually there's a dog who can handle the noise very loud because you've gradually taught them that good things happen when you hear this sound. But you can't just, you know, I wouldn't be like, hey, go open your garage door a bunch and tell them it's all right. You know, the volume of the sound and how far away the sound is from the dog is a huge thing too.
Okay.
So that's helpful. But. Okay, well thank you.
Thank you so much.
Hope you liked it.
Yeah, I got a question.
Sure.
How was it? Class?
Yes.
She comes pretty sparky, pretty well. This is just really attractive. A lot of that stuff. But, you know, a lot of
Is that supposed to go on?
Yes, I did get that.
Yeah, it's all,
It always
It
is.
is,
Yeah,
it
at
is.
first age, I would still do beginner.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure. Because in a room of dogs,